went to Kenya. Yes, got to go to Africa, and Kenya has been on the top of my list of places to visit, and we went. Our first stop was going outside of Nairobi. We did another workaway program with a family there that has a farm. Definitely self-sustaining too. They went to the market for a few things that their farm didn't grow, but we went and milked goats for the milk that we needed for our tea. We picked potatoes for a lot of our meals, have potatoes and beans.
Yeah, we had to pluck the corn kernels off of corn. I had to mash up some coffee.
Yeah.
You were cutting and cooking everything.
Yes.
This was a good place to be for a few weeks because it gave us, a different style of life to kind of get used to. But also Jai was very comfortable because he had other kids to play with. There was Joe and Helen and Joel and Twaj, who was a little baby.
Yeah.
He just ran around and played with everybody.
We definitely were on top of each other in our living quarters, Jai, Elijah, and I. We slept in the family's kitchen, which also had a bed. So when it was time to cook breakfast in the morning, whether or not we were awake or still sleeping, that was happening. So we made sure to just always be awake.
One of my chores was also to feed the animals. So I had to feed the goats, the chickens, which I'm terrified of because they just peck. And the geese and the rabbits. So I got to be farmer Elijah on this trip.
But yeah, we also did a lot of, just walking around the village, and you could see everybody else's crops that they had. Banana plantations, coffee and tea were big.
One of our first excursions was in the village of Kibichoi, which is where we were staying. Our host knew somebody who collected exotic birds. And so we walked through the village and went to his home where he showed us all kinds of different birds and
their eggs that they lay. He had an ostrich egg, but he didn't have an ostrich there. But
they had peacocks and what we call the crown cranes and things like that.
And the fan pigeon, and I was paying attention, obviously.
His friend also climbed up the tree and shook the mango tree, and a bunch of mangoes fell down. So we had super fresh mangoes right there on his property. It was really cool to.
Yeah, Jai loves mangoes.
Mango. Nyambura took us, me, Jai, Ryan, and her baby Twaj, and we went to go see the Giraffe Center, which is in Nairobi in the city, but it's a center for rehabilitating giraffes and taking care of them. And they're big.
Yeah, we knew giraffes were big, but like being right underneath one, like, oh my gosh, like they're definitely majestic creatures, and I get people who collect lots of giraffe things.
They're majestic, but they're kind of goofy looking if you really break them down. Jai was a little bit timid of the giraffes at first. He loves giraffes, but it's a huge creature. So it took him a second to get used to feeding them, but once he did, he had a big smile on his face, and he was having a good time. And it's cool that, he's able to see one of his favorite animals.
Yes. It didn't help, though, that his first encounter was with a giraffe that tried to headbutt me. Not because it didn't like me, it didn't like kids, and I was standing right next to one. But yeah, that was a close call.
You almost took one for the team.
I did.
We also went to the Nairobi Animal Orphanage.
These cubs and different young animals are left alone because their parents have been hunted down. And so they try to bring them in, and for the ones that they can, they just, rehabilitate and then try to release them back. But for others, it's a little bit too late. And so they end up being like nice, fun pets.
Hey, Mommy, the lions are kissing. Look.
I was lucky enough on this trip to have a hostess that liked doing hair. It's so hard to be a black woman and travel because you have to bring so much stuff if you want your hair to, at least not get in a huge knot. So it was time for me to take my other hairstyle out, get a new one, and my host was like, I will braid your hair I was like, oh, thank you so much, because this guy hates touching hair and he didn't want to help me at all.
Ryan was very excited to try to see Kilimanjaro while we were in Kenya. Everybody, it's one of the things that you've always wanted to do. It's one of the reasons you wanted to come to Kenya. We hired a driver and he took us to a town called Loitokitok, which is right on the border of Kenya and Tanzania. So you'd be able to see the mountain without crossing the border and having to...
Right, because Kilimanjaro is technically in Tanzania, but it's such a huge mountain you can see it from Kenya.
We could see the mountain, kind of. There was clouds covering a bunch of the top portion, so we walked around the town trying to kill some time for the clouds to pass. They never really did. We were able to see a little bit of the top of the mountain when the clouds would break and you'd see a little bit of the snow caps. And you could see how massive it was, how tall it was. But we were never able to see it in its full majesty.
Yeah, so sad. But it's okay, it gives us a reason to go back.
After our workaway was done, we got on a train and went to Mombasa, which is on the coast, so we could try to have a little beach time. After doing the farm life for a couple weeks, we decided to stay in a hotel with a pool, and Jai thought that was the best idea we've ever had.
I'm coming to get you.
Near the hotel where we stayed is Nyali Beach, which is not the most popular beach in Mombasa, but people said it was one of the more beautiful beaches. So we walked from our hotel down to Nyali Beach and got into the water. The locals gave us a coconut, so we drank coconut water.
Hi, mommy. Ladies first.
That's just the inside of it looks like.
Yeah, super sweet.
On our way out of Mombasa, we stopped at the Bombolulu Center, which is like a little village, but also...
It's an arts center where a bunch of craftsmen or craft people live inside this village, but majority of them, if not all, have some type of disabilities, but they make jewelry and they sell that jewelry and textiles, and they sell those to provide an income for their families, which also live with them inside the village. There's even a school there, but it was really cool because I wanted to buy just everything because it looked pretty, but also to help support. But they also had a cultural center there where we got to learn about the different tribes and the type of housing that they lived in, and we got to see a dance show.
We got to perform and participate in the dance show as well.
Did.
We did see the Mombasa Tusks right before we got on the train. That's one of like the picturesque Instagram spots you need to see in Mombasa.
It's on their money too.
It's true too.
While staying in Nairobi for our last couple of days in Kenya, we stopped by the David Sheldrick elephant orphanage. They also had rhinos, but we didn't see the rhinos. It's worth a visit to go. You stand behind a rope and they have different groups of elephants come out and they tell you their names and where they were found. And you get to see them take mud baths and eat some leaves off the sticks that were there and spray water in each other. It was so cute.
And when they take them to be released in the wild, they take them out and walk them around the grounds where the other wild elephants are so that they can mark their territory so other elephants will start to be more familiar with them.
Yeah.
And they do this over a period of months and months, taking them out, bringing them back, taking them out, bringing them back, so that when they are finally released, they're accepted into the wild herd.
Yeah, so.
And there was 28 elephants that were there at the time that we were there. Mm-hmm. They say they normally have right around 25 to 30, but since the David Sheldrick orphanage was started, I believe that 1,500 elephants had been rescued from the wild that would have died without this organization stepping in. Our 3.5 weeks in Kenya were perspective changing, fun,
challenging at times.
Yeah, and we definitely learned a lot about ourselves, other people, and even things like how to cook and how to milk a goat. So now we're leaving Nairobi and we're headed to Germany, but we have a layover that's in Morocco for 18 hours. We've decided to extend that layover so it's not so brutal. So we're going to be in Casablanca for about 5 days. So that's the next place that we're going.
But yeah, thank you for tuning in on our Kenyan adventure.
See you in Casablanca.